the meeting agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, moved and seconded.
Oh, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, I think that everybody said approved.
Yes.
Okay. And you're gonna do oath of office for Chris?
Yep, Chris was absent, wink, wink, the rest of the week. All right, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Chris Thomas,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of
and
Washington,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of Director of Montesano School District Number 66.
and will faithfully execute the duties of Director of Montesano School District Number 66,
Grace Harbor County,
Grace Harbor County,
State of
State of
Washington,
Washington.
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay,
Welcome.
Is there any public comment? Okay, we are gonna hear from Stephanie Klinger and Emily Ager on benchmark assessment data.
So, ready to let go?
I'm letting go.
All right. Let it go.
Oh.
That was a long time ago.
Ah.
All right, hang on.
Can you bring that full-size screen there, Stephanie?
Well, this is, I operate with a two screen. Hang on. Oh, you guys are being so patient with high tech, non-savviness. And I need bifocals. Okay. Okay. So we're actually, for those that don't know, Emily Ager is a fifth grade teacher in our building at Simpson. Just in case you haven't had a chance to meet her yet. She's pretty amazing.
Really good.
She is amazing. So Emily and I are going to be talking a little bit about our building goals essentially at Simpson this year. And one of those goals that we have involves database decision making. And once we get that information of students and how they're doing, what they know, what they don't know, then what we do in the classroom to make sure that we're differentiating our instruction to meet their needs. So I'm here to say benchmark assessments because that plays a huge role in the decision-making process that we go through, and I'll be able to give you a little snapshot on how Simpson is doing so far. So I'm going to be talking about kind of this big. Emily's going to narrow it down and talk about exactly what it looks like in the classroom. Okay? All right. I'm changing it on my screen, but let's see. Nope. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that okay? All right. So our school improvement goals, we have 4 goals that we're looking for at Simpson this year that couple with the district goals. The middle one, the one that's bolded, is the one we're going to be talking about today. And that's where all teachers will monitor and assess student mastery of standards and make appropriate curriculum decisions based on that information. Okay. So that's one of the goals that we have this year. So we have a nationally normed benchmark test that Beacon and Simpson give 3 times a year: fall, winter, and spring. And essentially what it is just a dipstick. It's nothing that is connected to any of the programs that our board has approved in the classroom, but it is a nationally normed test, and it's connected to the standards that students need to know in Washington State. So it gives us, it's kind of a completely separate assessment, but it gives us a bit of a dipstick in where they are and how they're doing. So the graph that you're looking at right now is just a screenshot of the entire student population at Simpson. S stands for fall, W stands for winter, and later this May, we'll have the spring data as well. So how you read this graph, it combines 4th, 5th, and 6th grade all together. The white is students who are at benchmark. That is 25th percentile and above. So how you determine benchmark, they take 50th percentile, split it in half. So you go kind of 25th to 75th. That's considered on grade level benchmark. Above 75th is considered the above grade level. Okay, but in this case, they lump all of those together. Make sense? And then the yellow that you see, we call that strategic. Those are students who range from the 11th percentile to the 20th percentile. So we kind of grab up, we go up a little bit, up past the 20th percentile because there's that 25th to 20 range. So we look cases how students are doing. If they're starting to fail in other measures that we're seeing in the classroom, then we pull them into strategic to offer some interventions for them. So this group is, they typically get most of the things, but they have some holes in their learning in just a few areas. And then the red that you see, those are students who are, we call those our intensive students. Those are students operating in the 10th percentile and below. We call those our vulnerable learners. They're kind of at risk for not meeting benchmark. Okay. So as you can see, I'm going to change kind of my screen so I can see it. Oh, nope. You can see that in our fall, our school district, it looks like we had 24% of our population was below benchmark. They were in strategic at that level. And so far with our winter data, we're just about complete. We're not all the way complete. So these numbers may change just a smidge. We have our makeups to do, and last time I checked in, we had just under 10 students who needed to catch up. So it's not going to change the overall population too much. But right now we're sitting at 20%. So that's a drop of 4%, which in a small school, that's pretty considerable. Those are definitely successes. So that's in reading. And then you can see for math, it looks like 17 was in fall and 15. So not as big as a decline in math, but I think that's largely due to we had some sixth grade who still needed to assess for math. So do you have any questions about, before I move on to the next slide, any questions for our benchmark assessment at all, what that measure is?
A quick question on measuring this. Is it compared to the state or is it compared to a standard?
It is
You know what I mean?
nationally normed assessment that is aligned to the state standards.
So it's possible for 100% of them to accomplish this. This isn't necessarily a curve compared to the rest
You
of the
were
state.
in
Is
No
that
Child
right?
Left Behind. Yeah, yes. No, I'm just, yeah. No, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you can either do this or you can't do this. Is kind of what it's asking, right?
We know realistically, right, that we're not going to have 100% of our students meeting benchmark. We
But in theory, sometimes when you're grading on a curve, for example, there will always be kids at the lower end. And that's what I'm asking. Is there always going to be kids necessarily that don't make it? And the answer is
What you're seeing is the raw score of the student.
yeah. Okay.
So once we have this information, what you're seeing is just overarching school information. But we at Simpson, we take it quite a bit further, where teachers will have their class rosters. Every student's score is listed on the class roster and color coded. Green is benchmark, yellow is the strategic, red is intensive. And then we take it a step further, so we can also provide some enrichment opportunities. Students who are above benchmark, they are coded in different colors, or blue or aqua. So that way you can identify them really easily. And what that color coding allows our teachers to do is track the progress of individual students as well. And then essentially what our staff does is after each benchmark assessment, they get together with their grade level teams, which is the next slide I'll show you. So after we collect this information, we always ask ourselves a question, what next? And our grade level teams meet monthly to discuss our student assessment data. After each benchmark, they're discussing the benchmark assessments, but that's not all they're discussing. One of the things that we found is our benchmark is one snapshot, one picture of how the students are doing. We need to make sure we're talking about multiple assessments so we can really understand the whole child. We've had a number of teachers come to me and say, or Mrs. Aldrich, she's our Title I math teacher. They'll say to Julie, this doesn't make sense. I'm not seeing this performance in the classroom. And so we go and look and see, and it's not matching. The results that we see on ECCD are not matching classroom results. And talk to the student, well, the dog is barking all night. They didn't get a good night's sleep. So there's lots of factors that can play into this one day assessment. So it's nothing that we wait. It's not the whole picture, but it's definitely a good piece of the picture, particularly because it's norm referenced. So I think that's a really easy thing for people to wrap their heads around. You know, we can say to parents, your child compared nationally with students the same age is at this percentile. That's an easy thing for them to wrap their minds around. So grade level teams meet, they discuss what they see as far as the data. They not just look at student performance, but they also look to see did many students miss a certain question. Fifth grade is a great example. Two years ago, Dan, or 3 years? 2 years ago, they were doing a data review. Everyone missed this area question. Why is everyone missing this area question? So they went into the test. They looked to see why they were missing the area question. It was the area was presented in the form of a model rather than an equation or a word problem. Well, we didn't have area models in our curriculum, so that's something they had to go back and add. So that's the other thing we look for too, is not just how can we plan interventions or enrichment opportunities for the students, but are we teaching the students in the way that they're going to be assessed and can be successful? So are there holes or gaps there? So the data that they analyze, it drives our enrichment groups, it drives our intervention groups. They share it with students. I have a lot of teachers this year. Part of the teacher evaluation is having students set goals and do self-assessments. So a lot of the teachers are sharing this information, not just ECCBM, but classroom-based assessments, things like that with students to start to make some student self-assessment goals. And we also are communicating the progress towards standards with their families. Okay? So that's kind of the school-wide big picture on what that looks like. Then I'm going to turn it over to Emily so she can really give you kind of a really concrete idea of what that application of this looks like in the classroom.
So like Steph talked about, differentiated instruction is our school improvement goal. There are numerous definitions online of it. You can look it up and find 1,000, but essentially in layman's terms, it is what we're already doing. It's finding multiple avenues to get the kiddos the information that they need. If they're not getting it in a typical way through the curriculum, what else can I do to kind of meet this learner? So some of the avenues that we do that with are small groups, running centers and stations. So having little stations that they rotate through that practices a different skill. Different types of assessment options. So we use the curriculum that is provided by the district, but then we'll also get together and see if we can find other types of assessment. Yeah, to also help them out. Teacher created materials, obviously, when we can pinpoint a specific need for a kiddo. And then that peer-to-peer coaching. So some of those higher kids with the kind of those middle kids to kind of pull them up. So if you go to the next page, I'll tell you guys some examples. So the main thing that I focus on with that, or the fifth grade team, Candy Hall's doing as well, and I think Angela are doing some of this stuff in their rooms. But what I've done in my room is with our math expressions. So for our Unit 2 test, I came back and I tested the kiddos, and I had about 4 kiddos that did not meet benchmark. And so how am I going to go back and provide them some reteaching opportunities? A lot of the ways they do it is through our homework and remembering. So we have a lesson every day, and then there's a backside of the homework that practices prior skills. So that's one way. Obviously, small groups, whenever we can fit those in, and then finding specific additional assignments that are catered to exactly what skill that kiddo needs. They don't need a whole unit, but they may just need to practice addition and subtraction decimals. So for Unit 2, I identified all the kiddos. They get to look at all their tests, and they identify which areas they want to work in. And then in my classroom, I would take my kids during our independent reading time, take a small group, and I show them space, and just kind of hammer those skills over and over. With that group, I did it for 2 weeks, and then I'll show you the data at the end of how those scores changed. Unit 3 was a little bit different. I had 9 students not meeting benchmark, so that was pretty concerning. And I actually did this one first. So this was our first real example of doing some reteaching. And so I did do small groups. The big concern with that, with having 9 students, is that's a pretty big small group to run. It's not very small. It's hard to keep the attention when you're in a tiny space. And then also, what is the rest of my class doing? You know, I don't want them doing busy work. We don't have a lot of free time in the day. So I have to make sure that they're also doing assignments that are enriching that stuff. So with them, I would run small groups. I let them again pick their specific skills that they wanted to, and then gave each kiddo a different assignment just to focus on that skill. Because a lot of times they'll see their test and say, oh, I've got to practice all the skills. Well, they don't need to practice all the skills. They just need to practice 2 or 3. And so that really helped instead of just reviewing the whole test, which I've done before. That didn't make as big a difference as we wanted. But then the really cool thing with this is I was talking with Julie Aldrich about, what else can we do? And I had this huge group, and she had some free time on Friday. So that final day, she ended up taking the whole rest of my class down, and they did an enrichment challenge in her classroom for probably like an hour and a half. I had an hour and a half of solid time in my whole room, so we could spread out to just really hammer it. And the kids like it. They like the one-on-one. They like getting to move to the other kids' desks. And so if we go to the next page, when they do get their tests back, this is the way that we have the kids kind of own it, is they look at their tests, and then I have them fill out a reflection sheet. We all go over it, whole group, and then the students identify their individual areas of concern, and as well as what they're strong at. And the first group was a little hesitant, but by the second group, they're excited to raise their hand. Oh man, I just forgot to bounce the decimal. And when we kind of own it and not make it a huge deal, it's not as frightening. And then we do send those, they fill out reflection forms and they send those home to their family. So on the next page, it shows the prompts that we have them write to. They identify all the stuff that they learned in the unit, what they feel confident in. After reviewing my test, I feel that I want to continue working on, and then ways that they specifically plan on doing it, instead of me just telling them how to do it. And then that goes home to mom and dad as well, or families. So, and then this final page is the actual outcomes, which it was awesome. So this was the unit two with those 4 kiddos. As you can see, the first set of kiddos started at a 2 or a 1. And then after that 2 weeks of small group, all but one of them were able to bring it up to standard. As you can see, a couple of them went from 2 to a 4 on that standard 6th grading scale. So that was awesome for them. And then what we also do is we come back, because this was the first group with it, and they were a little hesitant about being titled the reteaching group, as you can understand. But we came back afterwards and we talked. I asked them if they were comfortable with it, and we celebrated it with the whole class, and everybody else cheered. And it's this excitement to celebrate their hard work. You're not just having to do more work. You worked hard and you changed it. So, and then the next one was that unit 3, which I had that huge group. It's almost a 3-year class. And as you can see, I had one student kind of stay about the same, but the rest of them were able to pull it up to at or above benchmark. And it was awesome to see just the celebration on their face of that hard work, and then watch some of their mindsets change from I'm not good at math to if I work hard, and I put the effort forth, look what I can do now. So, and then this following test, I was also reflecting my scores. I didn't do a reteaching group yet, but just watching that kind of confidence of the kiddos, it was reflected in their final assessment. So.
One of the things we're really focusing on is mastery. At Simpson, we have a lot more standards that we have to get through, and there's, we always kind of feel the crunch for time. But we know that if we don't move towards mastery of the scale and being proficient at a standard, it's not going to help them grow the next year. So we have done some interesting things with the resources with our classified staff, our paraprofessionals, and we have scheduled push and supports with our paras to be able to help with this. We know that students just need sometimes more opportunity and more time and more practice. And if we can give that to them and provide some structure to do that, and it looks very different in classrooms, but it's happening in every classroom. We're seeing this growth, and we're really hoping that students and families are feeling it too.
So, 2 things. One, it was Stephanie's turn to come and present to the board, but I asked her if she would bring Emily because my daughter is in her class, and she's one of the Unit 2 students. And math at our house was not fun. She did not like it. It was difficult. It was fractions, and it was going over my head, 5th grade math. So I'm not good at math, and so she came home with this, went from a 2 to a 4, and last night, and she's turned cocky, is what she I said, "You want some help?" And she goes, "I got it." And she just ripped through her homework. So it's amazing the confidence level going from I'm in the low group to where she is now. It's just pretty cool.
And after a couple of the times of doing the reteaching group, they almost like it now. You know, I get some one-on-one time with the teachers, or we get to do other stuff, so it kind of erased that label. Everybody needs more time. Ultimately, I'm here to deliver this information to you. If you don't get it, it's my job to get it to you. There's not a time frame in which you have to understand this. If you need more time, we'll get you more time. So.
I personally like the owning it part of it, and then the evaluation that the kids, it's a different way for them to communicate home
Yeah.
too.
And in
I like
their
that.
terms.
Right,
Yeah,
it
And
starts the communication.
truly identifying what the specific one, because when they look at a bad score, they say, oh, the whole unit. Well, it's not the whole unit.
Right.
It's 5 questions of the same product. All you have to do is watch that decimal. And it makes it so much easier for them to it's not so overwhelming. So, they've been awesome.
Anyone else have any comments? Thank you, both of you, that was very good.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Sheila, business operations.
Yes, so, just any questions on the monthly budget status as that you received? Nothing? No? Okay, so I just had a quick, I wanted to touch on enrollment a little bit. In December, our average FTE was 1357.92. In January, we actually lost 13.3 FTE in January, but it only dropped our average to 1354.3. So we're hoping that February will bounce back up. I know we've been seeing some kids that are enrolling and whatnot. I don't actually see the withdrawals until the actual report, but I do see the increase. So I think our February numbers will be back up again, but we are still considerably higher than where we budgeted. We budgeted conservatively at 1260. So we're not at a point where we need to be concerned about that. So that's all I needed wanted to report on enrollment. And again, if you have any questions on the other reports I sent.
So just a reminder, we talked about this at the board retreat, but the apportionment dollars can either be added or taken away at this time. So it's always, that's why we budget conservatively, so there's more, hopefully more money coming in, which we've now done for the 5th year. So. Job, Sheila.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Good job, guys.
I was just about to
Then-
jump all over it.
It's been motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been approved. Personnel report. A motion to approve?
Second.
It's been, how many times? Motion
So
to
moved and seconded.
moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I got all my ayes.
Yep.
Okay. Business action, discussion items. You want to talk about a surplus property out the Coquitlam Road?
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit at the last board meeting and we jumped into a little bit further at the retreat. But we have that 28.33 acres out on the west side of Coquitlam Road. We are in the process of having that appraised, which we won't have for probably another 2 weeks. But what I would really like to do is have you approve the surplus of the property. Once we get the appraisal, then we will come back at another meeting and we'll make a determination if we want to put it on the market.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that? Motion to approve?
A motion.
Discussion? Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, have we considered the option of building a school out there and moving?
No.
Did you and your dad get it cleaned up? Are you gonna do that?
No, he doesn't have anything to do. Getting out of my kitchen.
Is there anything that you would see us not wanting to get rid of it?
The liability factor, I think, is the big thing that I overwhelmingly saying we need to get rid of it. There has been some interest. I don't know who they are, but there has been some interest in that property. So who knows? we have to, once we get it appraised and we list it, we have to list it at no less than 90% of the appraised value. So whether or not someone's willing to pay that is another story, but it's a starting point. After a year, then we can change the listing price.
Can we accept, I mean, is that to say we can accept something less than 90% though?
No.
Oh,
On the first year.
okay. I mean, we already did that. Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi, hi.
Hi.
Okay, discussion on purchase of the maintenance shop.
So again, as we mentioned, the retreat, the maintenance shop had an offer. We put in an offer contingent upon your approval. That as well as being appraised, and we should get that back next week. So obviously if the appraisal is higher than what the offer we made, which was 180,000, we would have to renegotiate. Kelly's been down to see it. It took Kelly down to see it. Took her to the bus garage so she could see what it looked like. She took some pictures, including the infamous marked box. And
And the rat traps.
yes. So, and Scott's been down there to kind of look through and scope things out. So I think we're in a good spot to do it. Financially, we've got money budgeted for a purchase like this, so it's not like we're taking from somewhere else. And I think we just see where the appraisal goes, but we do need to make a decision yea or nay tonight on whether or not we're going to move forward with this.
So the other offer fell through.
No, the other offer is still there.
Oh, okay.
What happened was, apparently, the agent representing the other offer hesitated a day before getting the offer in, and in that time we got ours in.
Got it.
So ours is in first?
It's in
It's
first.
not pending. We're not waiting for this other one to fall through then.
No. We're only waiting for our approval or denial of the purchase from you guys.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve that?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Public, any discussion? Any more discussion?
And again, this would be funded out of capital projects or?
Yes, and we're gonna, if you approve it, the next resolution, the next item is the transfer of funds from general fund to capital projects fund.
Okay.
So it's funded from the general
Okay, so
fund,
it's
yeah,
coming
the
from
transfer
general
the
fund.
funds to capital to purchase the building.
Okay.
And I do have pictures of the little maintenance area, and it is small. I mean, there's no room for him to do much. And then there's a big surplus supply section. And it was good to see that. Not near as fun as your junk pile. So. Okay, so. I already did that.
Oh, we haven't
Just
voted.
a discussion. we can vote.
Oh, okay, so all those in favor? Resolution, transfer of funds?
Okay, Sheila, do you want to anything you want to say about that?
It's just the reason we have to transfer the funds, we can't pay for a building out of the general fund, it has to be purchased out of the capital project fund, that's just according to our accounting manual, so.
And the dollar amount is higher than 180,000 because of closing costs
Oh,
and the earnings fund that we put down
And the appraisal.
and the appraisal.
okay. Motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve resolution 412.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Field turf donation.
This is, we talked about last month, this was the Kelsey Foundation donation for the remaining $11,420.94 for the turf field. So as I said last month, that is now completely paid for. And I want to thank the Kelsey Foundation for not only their support of this project, but for their continuing support of our district and students.
Yeah, can I comment on that too?
Yes.
You will see one more payment come through, a voucher, for Sprint Turf because we're still waiting for, the Department of Revenue to sign off on the notice of completion of the project. So once that happens, then we can release the retain and change. So you'll see that coming up here in the future.
I'd move to accept the Kelsey Foundation donation.
Second.
Any discussion? Or no, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
First day of school.
Okay, so one of your responsibilities every January is to decide when the first day of school will be. Once that's determined, we put together some sample calendars. It goes to the staff. They make some tweaks and ultimately say, here's the one that we want, and then it comes back to you for approval. So none of that can get started until you approve the first day of school. So essentially, you've got those calendars in front of you. We're looking at the week of August 29th or the week of September 6th, because Labor Day is on the 5th.
July.
July 15th is fine.
My thought, and the question would be what it does if we start on the 6th or the 1st of September. Seems like probably the most likely start dates. To me, what does that, where does that push us into June if we start on the 6th?
Towards closer to the 20th, as opposed to the 14th.
So that affects graduation.
Yes.
Right, okay.
It puts it back a little later. I mean, starting after Labor Day is always nice. But you gotta balance it when you get out. I don't know. I think this year we started right after, or did we start before Labor Day or right after Labor Day this year?
This year we started before,
We did, okay,
because Labor Day was so late.
right. I mean, that discussion.
So we need to do a motion to approve that we choose a day. And then we can have a discussion, correct? Okay.
So it's either the 31st
Well, it's any day of that week.
that week.
I think that if you ask the staff, and I may be told no, but the 31st has always been popular with them. Because it gets you in before Labor Day. You get a 3-day week, which I say this every year, it's not a wasted 3 days, because on day one, if you're in the classroom, they're teaching. It's not a lot of get to know you games. It's let's get down to business. In fact, I think a lot of teachers will not even go through their syllabus or their class rules until the following week, just because they want to jump in. That's one of the things I've always been impressed about here, is that from day one, we're off and running.
I've heard from a lot of parents that they don't want to start in August. It's the last day of August, so I don't know, but I've gotten, I don't know what your guys' impressions are on that, but
My issue always is if we start the last week of August, we always have open house the week before, so basically you take the last 2 weeks of August away from vacation time for the younger kids. You know what I'm saying? Is like if we started on the 31st, we'd probably end up having open house on the 25th. So then that whole week we can't go somewhere because we have to be home that Thursday for open house. And do you get what I'm saying? It always irritates me.
Well, let me just tell you, you'll have a board meeting on the 26th.
The 25th.
That'd be a great night.
No, I do hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that can also be adjusted with, we could adjust the open house. I think, and talk to you two, has it always been a week before?
No, one,
Again, it depends on.
it's what it depends on when the start date is, the more likely it would be on that Tuesday.
See, that's what I thought. Didn't we?
It depends, but usually, in this case, it'd probably be on that Tuesday before, it should be the 30th.
So if we started on the 31st, it'd be on the 30th.
Well, I'll make a motion that we start on the 31st first.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just to get-
Yeah, I mean, it's important to get the motion out, then we can continue to discuss and.
So we can motion.
I'm kind of with Caleb, I like after Labor Day, but that's because I never enjoy back to school time, so I want to put it off as long as possible.
Alex, you want to talk from the high school
Yeah,
perspective?
from the secondary perspective, all the athletics had started 2 weeks before that. All our kids are here. Staff is rolling back in. They're kind of ready to go before Labor Day. And one of the things that we like is control of our kids for our first home football game. We don't have the schedule set yet. If we move it out, we might have a home football game before school starts. And for us, that's a management issue because our kids really under our control at that point. And then, you don't have pep assemblies. I mean, so for a secondary school, being in school when your season starts is a good thing. So I look at it as we're here, the kids are here, let's get rolling. Now, I don't have elementary school kids. I got high school kids. So,
Exactly, I think that's the
and so
difference.
it's, when my kids were in elementary school, I totally saw that argument. But they're, from the secondary perspective, we like to get going. So if we start a little bit before Labor Day, that's a good thing for us.
Dan or Greg or Stephanie, you guys want?
I think in the elementaries, it goes both ways. I think you'll find a little bit in the secondary, but for the most part, it's a lot of the teachers up there are into the sports as well. So I think it's come see, come see in both at the elementary and probably a little more stronger for before in high school. That's been my understanding over the years.
Just to clarify the start date for us as we talked about it, and oftentimes it's dependent on teacher contract and the teachers start. So
With the training.
with the training days. So we
Open house depends
Yes,
on the
open house
training days.
depends on
So
training.
that's why it was the week before this year, because it was coupled with some teacher training days. So but that's just something we can be really mindful of as we're planning our back to school days as well.
Or we could just, get rid of that before school open house, because, I don't like it anyway, so.
Okay. Parents are.
It's been moved and seconded.
Motion.
So it really, I mean, for me personally, as an employee of the district, it doesn't make any difference because I'm here anyway. I have different feelings as a parent, but that's neither here nor there.
But I also get from the teacher's perspective, like you said earlier, that you get in, you're teaching for 3 days, and then you kind of can unwind for that 3-day weekend, rather than having that 3-day weekend and thinking, crap, I gotta go back to work on Tuesday. It just sort of gets it out of the way. We only missed, Cole missed first 3 days of kindergarten because we didn't realize when the start of school was.
That's a parent issue.
Yeah, it definitely is. We were in San Diego, so.
I think it's more appealing to start earlier because I think June, once we hit the end of May, June just is like, the kids are all brain dead and aren't paying attention. Isn't it worse at the end of the school year
Doesn't
than?
matter when it ends,
Yeah, it doesn't matter when it ends.
it's crowd control, but I'm trying to teach.
Yeah, okay.
I think the weather is usually better. That's another part of the issue. So
Oh, yeah.
early September is usually nicer than June. So having days where they're outside or families are gone. I like the 6th. I might go for the 1st. Then the first football game might be on the 2nd. I wouldn't want to start on the 2nd, just one day and then be off. I think 2 days might. I remember we've done in the past where we started on a Thursday, and I don't remember feedback after that. But I would probably be inclined to vote the 1st as a compromise. But the 31st is the motion out there, so if we get 3 votes for that, then that won't matter.
I'm okay with the 31st as well, but I just, my kids might miss the first 3 days of school if we go do something.
That's a thought too. If you start on the 1st, you're only missing 2 days of school because that might be our situation too. It may not be here. I'm not totally sure what our vacation stuff's going to work out to be, but that usually is a nice time to be gone. And you got the Labor Day too, so you kind of just knock out 5 days or whatever.
I get the sports thing, and in a couple years, this conversation in my world will probably be different because we'll have to be here for
So you
sports.
won't have any holidays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll let my kids miss school, but not practice. That's why I was saying how ridiculous that sounded.
Okay, so we have a motion.
For the 31st.
I think we need to vote.
All those in, okay, so all those in favor for the 31st of August start date? All those opposed?
Nay.
So did you say approve, did you say
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, I said that.
Okay, so we have 3. So it's been approved.
Okay, so the first day of school will be August 31st. Tiffany, we will look at the open house. I never thought about that really before, again, because I'm already here.
Mhm.
But I think we could look at doing it the night before.
Night before, Monday would be.
Right,
But it ties into.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. Just wait. Then we can work out the training stuff and all that. So that, I think we can work that out. Okay.
Community ed? Is there?
No, did someone say something?
No, we actually happen to like school when it's nice, because the kids get to run play and get their vitamin D, and their behavior is pretty awesome, as opposed to the gray rainy days.
Get a bottle of vitamin D.
Yeah, pass them out.
Okay, community ed. I was approached by Dick Stone and Jenny Brumfield from Community Ed to talk about bringing that back under the umbrella of the school district as it was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
He said that it would cost $22,000 to $25,000, and I asked him about where that money went. $1,000 a month, and for 10 months, I'm pretty sure goes to the coordinator stipend, and then the rest is for printing and mailing 3 times a year the catalog. I'm still waiting for numbers from Marla Boland, who is the coordinator, as to the exact number of people, individual people, not the number of classes that they take, but so we can see how many people are actually participating in it. But I wanted to have this on the agenda tonight so we could have a little bit of a discussion. I don't think we're in a position to make a decision one way or the other tonight, because I do want to get those numbers. But are there any thoughts one way or the other about this issue?
I'd like to see, when that additional information comes in, I'm sort of, I want to continue community ed, but I also don't want it to take away from, our resources or our core responsibility. I'm hoping there might be a way to, be involved or do something, provide some role, but
because there's certain classes or activities, let's call them all classes, that have much higher participation than others. And so my only concern is if it doesn't come to the district and it fades away, we have to find a way to maintain those 3 or 4 things that are really popular, because a lot of them have been going on for a long time. The class with 2 or 3 people in it, I'm not sure that's productive. But that's why I want to see
some data.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at it, it's things that would really benefit the students and community. And if there is a role, maybe doing some things differently, so the cost wouldn't be the same, or
Do you want to talk about what you
Yeah.
said?
A thought on this is if there's a way to get students involved, maybe as a senior project or something, where 2 or 5 or 10, I don't know, students headed up, probably under one adult as well, but they distribute the information, and maybe a lot of that starts to be done online to save in printing. That's a thought I have. I haven't looked into it enough to know for sure that's a good idea, but it certainly could be. But they distribute the information. They sign the people up. Maybe they even collect the money and then turn it in to the appropriate person there. But having 2 students or 4 students or something take on something like this can give them some skills for adulthood. I think this is a valuable thing for a certain number of students to maybe participate in.
And I think it's good for members of the community and to have that community connection. I'm sort of on the fence whether a scaled back version, and I think getting rid of the mailing of the catalogs seems to make sense, given today's ability by everyone to use a computer. So I don't have a strong feeling really one way or the other. April, can you, since the library is used quite a bit, what are your thoughts? I mean, is the library, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is the library left in a way that it was when they found it? For example, do you feel like it's taking anything away from opportunities for kids to use the library?
No, to the last question, no, it's always in the evening. The library is used facility-wise a lot now, in other ways besides community school. And I'm sure that none of those people in there in the evening has anything to do with the books that are missing at the end of the year. but no, I'm glad I like to open the doors as much as I can for the community to come in and use the space. That's a great thing.
Was that sarcasm or serious?
I'm sorry?
Is that sarcasm or serious?
No, I truly want, I come to
What
the
about the
library.
books?
Missing books. Oh, the missing books? Oh, we did this, yeah.
No, okay. I'm just wondering if you were trying to say that you think
No,
that's the reason a lot of books are disappearing.
No. Unfortunately,
We'll get bread on
Was
it.
it-
Hey, kids like to read.
yes, good. I hope that you read well wherever the books are.
Been passed around with their friends.
Yes, if that's really happening, good. But no, I love that the library is open for public use on the evenings. That's a good thing.
I have a question.
Yes.
The programs that are super popular, like tumbling and some of the others, what is the benefit of them being labeled under the community ed? I mean, can't they just request gym space
Yeah.
and run their program?
So I guess with community ed, there's a fee to take tumbling.
Mhm.
Some of that fee goes to community ed to be able to send out their
It's
things.
2 separate payments.
Mhm.
You pay a community ed
Oh, there is.
$5 fee,
I
and then
should
you
know this
pay,
because my daughter
and
knows.
then you pay the
And then
instructor.
Sherry has a portion.
Right,
So I think the same would go if she were just to use the facility. There would be a facility use fee because she's doing it for profit, and then there would be a portion that would go to her.
Okay.
So it would probably not change a whole lot.
right.
And what about like the men's basketball?
They pay a fee right now. They would do the same thing. I mean, the money would go instead of going to community ed, it would come to the district. So those kind of things don't necessarily change.
So why does there have to be a community ed if we could have individuals running these programs if we want to? It's more the computer and the.
Community ed, and they're under an umbrella of
Right.
insurance and everything. So if it was just an outside,
They'd have to provide their own insurance?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But we
that's
can
the
do that
benefit.
through Clarissa, through our insurance carrier. There are insurance plans for groups, so it's not
so when
completely out of the question.
I was just trying to think of what,
That was my
Your
question, is
question
what's
to
the
what-
benefit of being under the community ed umbrella? And it's insurance, so Sherry doesn't have to go out and insure her business.
And probably, it started out as getting word out, advertising. But in this day and age,
I mean, it's grown even
Electronics
since
is-
we've been here, from small to now that she's got her traveling sort of tumblers competing. But there's classes, and I don't even know, I've looked through the catalog, and, I question how many people are actually taking advantage of those. I think Jeff Letzel does a Power Tools for Women, which is a really intriguing idea. I think it would be great if there were 10 people in there, which I don't know how many are in there. That's what I want to try to find out. So I would propose that we put this on the agenda next month, and in the meantime, I gather the information and get it out to you so you can see what it is, and then if there are any other thoughts, like Caleb's thought about having kids sort of run that. And I've thought about that. I'm not sure how it would work. It probably would work.
If it could.
Yeah.
They could. Yeah, I don't know the logistics of it necessarily, but I think for the right kids, it would be a valuable further education.
And I think, too, the question of, our facilities are being used more and more and more and more and more, and that's another juggling of activities and things that's been more of a burden, it seems like this year than it has.
Well, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse, definitely.
Especially for basketball.
Yes. This time of year.
Well, it goes from
Cindy can attest.
November all the way through the spring, because you have baseball and softball right after that.
Yeah.
So are we good with
Mhm.
putting it off to the next month?
Weight room, district office, location?
So again, the weight room upstairs, there are multiple reasons why it's not a great idea. If you're in the locker room when they're lifting, it's a fairly frightening sound. I was up there today after school, and wrestling was up there, and the weight room had probably 10 or 15 kids in it, and it's just a small space. So, and yes, and I think really one of the more important things is it's not ADA compliant. There's always that. We're not compliance. So if we were able to move it down here, which would be this room, and those offices, obviously the walls taken down, the risers out, be beneficial for the weight room and for wrestling. It also means that we have to leave. So the discussion that we have had about a modular building with wheels.
And the tongue.
And the tongue. A plywood cover over the tongue.
Some lattice, I think, would be.
There you go.
Put a nice deck out. Anyway, we talked at the retreat about possible locations, and one of those was out here, and we measured that, and with the thought of potentially wanting to bump this wall out, it's not going to leave enough for like a fire lane to get through there. We've looked at that side of campus, and really the only, I should pull up my Google map again. The only space spot that we really find suitable.
Did you look over by the greenhouse?
Yeah, there's not a lot of space over there unless we can buy that house in the corner.
Then we'd use the house, right? We wouldn't have to have a modular.
Is it for sale?
No.
You open the
So,
door.
yeah. There's two options, one right here, going that direction, or going this direction.
Oh, I thought you talked about going this direction.
Well, it's not gonna fit.
Oh,
That was choice number one.
yes.
But we think right here on the edge of this road, diagonally, you bump it up against that, there's still this area where moms can have their kids play during soccer practice. And there's still access with parking that they can still get down to the road. You've got the sewer down here, so it's easy to hook up. You've got water and power out here. So it's actually, in terms of those kind of connections, that's the best spot.
Under those trees there to the north of that field, that's just that.
Over here,
Oh,
that's a gully, yeah.
That's nothing there, right?
It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not room over here.
That's the sewer tanks.
What?
That's the tanks for the sewer tanks.
Oh, right
By the
here?
greenhouse, house?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's really no room. I like this spot right here.
Raised.
So anyway,
You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
move it for the game.
Just get the football players out there and then
Yeah.
push it on.
So I think that if this is something that we're looking at doing, which I think is necessary sooner than later, we want to start the process of not only planning the demolition of this, but to be able to get us out of here and into a new space. Again, the 90 building up at Simpson has always been a possibility, but because our enrollment is continuing to grow, we need to save that for potential classroom space.
Yes, better that you be in a modular than a portable flying on one of those campuses.
And is the weight room still going to be, did you say it was gonna be a 2-phase?
Well, it's a potential 2-phase if we were to do, at some point, there's gonna have to be some work done to this building. So a bond or something would have to be run to redo locker rooms, plumbing, and then we would bump out this wall or that wall to make it bigger.
Okay, so where are we at? What do you need from us?
Well, we need,
Do we need to
I
make
guess
a
we need a
motion?
motion.
No, it's just.
There's no action on it.
Just discussion.
It's supposed to be.
Fine.
Yeah, let's have some discussion.
We just did.
We just did.
Does anyone have any other
Well,
comments?
the board is always met here, would we have to disband or what we do?
There's a little spot right here.
The patio is gonna provide.
Or no, we would either,
meeting. I like it.
we would either create a space inside that building that would be boardroom / meeting room or, meet it like the high school library.
Larry.
If we could squeeze in with all the community ed.
I'm coming around to the modular building.
Holy moly.
I still don't love it, but I'm coming around.
Maybe put daffodils in front.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, is as long as you make it look nice.
And also he moved it over out of the little.
No, the
Play area.
location sucks.
There's no fixing the location.
Okay, you do not want your children playing next to this fence.
Because it's a kind of.
No, it's perfect, because it's the only place that then their ball doesn't go out into the road, so.
Oh.
Okay, but they can still kick it up against the modular.
I was gonna say, you need to put,
So
Bars
here's
on
the
the
thing,
windows.
here's the thing though, honestly, Tiffany's trying to move it as close to this fence as possible so that there wasn't, it wasn't out in the middle, which one took up space, but two, there was a hiding place behind. Or either with kids out here, hiding place behind it, or during the school day, a hiding place, around there. Where you could see.
Or up against the trees on the other side, right there.
Then we'd have to create a parking lot.
We would.
Yeah, and a
I'm
sidewalk.
not gonna park here and walk across a muddy field.
Oh, that road drops.
I'll
down
just
there.
tell it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I guess I'm looking for some direction, are we looking to move this process forward and we'll
Yes.
put something on the.
So we can't do action tonight on it. Then.
We can put it on there for next week,
Okay,
or
next month.
whatever that is.
You can get the process started.
yes.
Okay, that's all.
There you go.
Okay,
A nod of the head.
Okay. Public comment?
Last one.
Okay, superintendent report.
okay, so whether or not you knew this, January is Board Appreciation Month. Chris and Caleb, at least we have heard of it before, but the other three, every January, we appreciate you. And at this time,
The other 11
you've got a
months.
coffee cup.
The other 11 months.
Yeah, that's true. You just tolerate me. So we got you a Bulldog mug and a coffee card.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I've been on lots of boards and I've never gotten anything very board appreciation.
Yeah, these
So-
are-
Well, I wonder if it's only school board appreciation. The governor has a proclamation that I have read at one time or another, but I just sensed you guys were not really the proclamation kind of people.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to introduce Rakeen Reynolds. Give her a wave. She is works for Chartwells, but she is our food service director from Chartwells. Works half-time here and half-time at Rainier. Doing some new things. I know that Kayla likes to talk about the delicious food, and it's not her fault. It's federal guidelines. Anyway, today, Rakeen, I know you didn't want to talk, but do you want to talk just briefly about the oats and breakfast this morning since it was successful?
Sure. Well, and actually this week too, we had our fresh meat smoothies at Beacon and Simpson for breakfast. and it went over really well. We're gonna plan on doing a little bit, it actually is called like a pop-up smoothie day where I just come in and we do the smoothies. It's just announced that day, because it went so well this week. We definitely will do a little bit more promotion for it ahead of time so the kids will know that it's available, and the staff,
Staff
actually.
wanted to.
Yeah. And we've also started the oatmeal. Last week was the first week doing oatmeal at Beacon and Simpson, and then at the secondary today. Sherry put it in with some of her other regular breakfast, and she did 40 oatmeal breakfast, which was really cool. We were excited about it because she had a little bit of a oatmeal bar put together with different toppings that they could use using some of the recipes that we have. So just trying to promote that a little bit more for breakfast.
So Arkeen handles all the ordering of the food, the menus, keeping the staff, that's a cohesive group. Sheila assists her with that, but it's been a huge benefit, I think, to the district to be able to use Chartwell's and save us some money. Arkeen's been a valuable part of the district food service team.
She keeps us in compliance with all the
Yes,
guidelines.
absolutely. So I wanted to introduce her and just talk a little bit about Chartwell's, and then thank you, Arkeen, for keeping things moving. Monday night, February 1st at Simpson, about 7 o'clock, I think. Is that when that fire training is? There's the fire department's doing a training in the parking lot. So if you're going by there, anyone sees fire trucks and flashing lights, the school's not on fire. It's just they're doing training. So we're going to try to, Sean, can you help me put something on the website about that? And I will send you some information tomorrow via email on a couple of things. Surprises.
Now that you buttered
That's
us
all I
up.
have. I just wanted to-
Now we got coffee cups.
Yeah.
Hit us with the hard stuff.
Okay, thank you. Is there board comments? Chris, do you have anything?
Yeah, I want to thank Stephanie and Emily for the presentation, and I'm encouraged that we're using benchmarks like that and going back and working on mastery. I thought the approach that you guys described it was real encouraging. I'd like to see that in the schools, and I appreciate when we have our learning times to learn about that and see what's going on. So thank you. And wanted to thank Kelsey Foundation again for that $11,000. That's it's always good to see, the generosity in the community. And also we had the retreat a few weeks ago, and I found that really beneficial. There's some things that I wasn't really fully aware of that was discussed there, and it helped to be able to discuss things kind of informally, and there's some things like our updating our curriculum, how we're coming along with that. I wasn't, it was nice to learn about that. I didn't know where we were at, but now I know that we're finishing up a long process of updating our curriculum, and that's very good. So that's all I have.
Tiffany, have anything to add? Caleb?
I'll echo a little bit about what he said with Ms. Egger and Klinger with their presentation. They did some stuff with Malachi, my son, last year, and it was very helpful and getting some stuff with. He was a little bit bored on some stuff, so they did a little bit of extra stuff for him to try to help think outside the box, and he appreciated that. His mom and I appreciated that. So I think what they're doing there is a cool thing, trying to some degree at least tailor the kids where they're at, and really helping them succeed and seeing some success from the scores we saw where they weren't getting it, and then a lot of them really were getting it at the end. So that's cool to see. So that's my main thing, and nice to see the football field totally paid off. So thanks to the Kelsey Foundation. I don't think there's anybody here that represents them, but that's cool to see as well. And welcome to the new board members. I know this is not your first meeting. It's my first meeting with you, so Anyway, so, welcome to the club. Oh, and thanks for the copy.
Okay.
I'll just echo what everybody else said. I'm a numbers, data, statistics kind of guy, so I really like that. And the Turk project, I'm on a soccer board in Olympia. And, have bragged about this project a ton. That a one stoplight town. That half the people that are on my board don't even know where Mont Saint is. But for a community to pull something off like that, it's pretty impressive. So I think that's all we. That's why we all like to be here involved. So. And thanks for the cup. I'm sure my daughter will steal that as soon as I get home.
And I thank everybody for coming, and I've seen staff down at the corner at the stoplight waving levy signs, and so that's very timely to see that. I think the mailer had barely been put in the mail, and I've seen staff down there, so that's awesome to see that. There's good numbers on each corner, so thank you for who has been doing that. Okay, anything else? Nope.
Oh, just one thing, if you've ever been inclined to go to a high school wrestling match, there is one taking place right now.
I'm gonna go to my first one tonight.
We've got some illness running through the district as well as the wrestling team. So who knows how long it'll last, but they are out there wrestling Aberdeen. You're not wearing your Aberdeen sweatshirt, are you, Brett?
I've been converted.
Yes. Okay, meeting adjourned.